I cannot believe what I am seeing as the Milwaukee Bucks lose their 5th straight game, this time against the Cleveland Cavaliers in a game that saw Damian Lillard hit what was thought to be the game winner just for Donovan Mitchell to come back in and win the game for the Bucks. We're going to break down the disaster of a game and much more in this episode. But before we get into it, quick reminder, hit the subscribe button. If you're enjoying the daily Bucks content, hit that subscribe button. I know it's a brutal time right now to be a Bucks fan, at least in the very moment, the way that this is going. But this is the place to be for Daily Bucks News. If you're enjoying it, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's dive right into it. We have a lot to go over today. So, obviously, the Bucks lost, and it's a pretty rough time right now. That being said, there's some positives to take away from this. So, obviously, we have Giannis. We have Damian Lillard. What a game from Damian Lillard. He hit the Dame Time patented pull-up midi, and we all thought, let's be honest, that the Milwaukee Bucks won the game. There was 9 seconds left. We were thinking, hey, maybe we finally got our chance to shine. Unfortunately, that is not what happened at all. They lost the game. Donovan Mitchell hit a crazy mid-range again, and it almost looked like Dame's to a degree, but he hit it, and it was crazy. That being said, there's a lot to take away from this game. For one, cannot believe where the Bucks are right now this season. Just want to get that out there. But let's start from the top. Taurean Prince finally had a decent game. He went 6 for 7, 4 for 5 from 3. Very similar stat line to one of his games earlier this season. The Bucks had 16 points, 6 rebounds. It was a fine game for Taurean Prince. Giannis, dominant. 15 for 27, 34 points, 16 rebounds. They finally got some boards, and they desperately needed that. And the starters played good tonight, aside from one guy who we need to desperately talk about, but we're going to leave it for now. Great game from Giannis. Brook Lopez, pretty bad game. 6 points, 6 rebounds, 2 for 7. His name has been involved in numerous trade talks, and it's been crazy. Damian Lillard, and there's a lot of things to take away from this. For one, this is the first game in a very long time that we saw Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo actually have a connection. They actually had some chemistry going. We saw the insane behind-the-back pass from Giannis Antetokounmpo to Dame for the 3. Dame shot unreal from the field, unreal from the three-point line, unreal from the free throw line. So, not unreal from the free throw line, 5 for 8, but just he got to the free throw line a bunch. The point is, the Milwaukee Bucks are in a very interesting spot now. This was a game that, again, it was the Cavs' second night of a back-to-back. This is one you had to win. They are now 1-5. They lost 5 straight after winning their first game of the season against the Sixers. And there's a lot of question marks. But I want to start with the positives. Now, I know there's not a ton of positives here, but this was one of the better games that we saw from Giannis and Dame. They were actually passing the ball. They were moving it together. We saw the Bucks had a huge lead, almost a 20-point lead against the Cavs earlier in the game in this first quarter and the second quarter and the first half. And then it turned into a lot of just the ball started getting stuck. They started reverting back to their old habits. And they let the Cleveland Cavaliers back in the game, who are 7-0. They're probably the best team in the NBA right now. But this would have been a huge win for their confidence. It would have been a huge win record-wise. Obviously, an Eastern Conference opponent. But they weren't able to get it done. And we saw exactly why we traded for Dame was to get him a chance to, well, of course, shine with Giannis, all that stuff. But for when clutch times are coming up, you give the ball to Damian Lillard. 15 seconds left. Dame dribbles in, pull up midi. Cash, he was happy. There was 9 seconds left. You're thinking one stop wins you the game. They weren't able to get that stop. Now, full credit to Donovan Mitchell because what an unbelievable shot by him. Got to give him credit where it's due. But the Milwaukee Bucks shouldn't have even been in that position to start with. They should have had this game. They should have had it won. They were up double digits. You saw Andre Jackson Jr. get a ton of minutes, and he played fine. I liked him, especially in the first half. He played okay. You're seeing so many, of course, DNPs now. Their bench is an absolute disaster. It is a disaster. Bobby Portis had 10 and 8, and he was a minus 16, which is very difficult to do, for one. But for two, the bench is just such a disaster right now. There's no one you can trust. DeLon Wright, horrible game. Pat Connaughton did nothing out there. He obviously had a couple of rebounds, a couple of assists. None of the bench guys are doing what they need to do. You have a game. This is now the second game where Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard played their butts off, had a phenomenal game. They actually finally looked like they were a team today. They actually looked like they were a team. They've been playing together, specifically Giannis and Dame. Brook Lopez goes out and shoots 2 for 7. And Gary Trent Jr. goes out and shoots 1 for 10. He is the worst starting shooting guard in the league this year, statistically. He has done absolutely nothing. He had 3 points in 34 minutes. as I've said numerous times, when Gary Trent Jr. is on the floor and he's not scoring, he doesn't give you much. He gives you some defense, sure. He had a steal tonight. But he doesn't give you rebounding. He doesn't give you passing. And he's sure as hell not giving you three-point shooting this year either. He's one of the worst three-point shooters in the league. You need more. On a game where you get 75 combined points from two players, your two stars. We see the Boston Celtics. They have Jaylen Brown. They have Jason Tatum. Those are their two key stars. But they have players like Derek White, Drew Holiday, all these other guys that actually contribute. You cannot rely. And I was going to say you can't rely on Dame and Giannis to have 30 and 40 a night. Even when they are having 30 and 40 a night, they're still not finding ways to win these ball games. Yes, the Cavs are a great team. The bench is despicable. DeLon Wright, brutal game. Again, Pat Connaughton, doing nothing. They need to make some sort of move. And again, when Chris Middleton comes back, Gary Trent Jr. is going to get moved to the bench. He's probably going to be the sixth man, and maybe he can get something going. We saw with the Raptors, he was playing terribly in the starting lineup. He got moved to the sixth man, and then he ended up having a spark, got moved back to the starting lineup. Sure. But good God, they need to figure something out. And I'm very fired up about this game in particular because they definitely needed to be better. They needed to win this game. I was in the first quarter, I was like, wow, this is phenomenal. This is great. Andre Jackson Jr. knows his job on offense, set screen and get Dame the ball. The ball was flowing in the first quarter and even the second quarter to a degree. They gave it up towards the second half of the second quarter into the half. But things were rolling. We saw Giannis towards the end of the second quarter. Behind the back pass to Dame. 3. Cash. We saw Giannis and Dame actually moving the ball to each other. Moving the ball together. They were driving kicks to Taurean Prince, who had 4 threes. Things were looking good. This was the team that we expected coming into the season. And then they gave it all up. Now, Gary Trent Jr., I'm not going to say he single-handedly cost them the game, but if he would have played even mediocre, they would have won the game. Bobby Portis had a fine game off the bench statistically. Still not moving the needle, though. You can see he's a minus 16. Now, plus minus isn't a great stat to judge a player's performance, but on a game where you're minus 16 in 20 minutes, yeah, the bench minutes were horrific. Andre Jackson Jr., he showed some things. But when your bench unit, again, they don't have Chris Middleton, and I don't know if he's going to be the savior, but clearly they need something. They need a third scorer, and Chris Middleton is going to be that guy, hopefully. But if he doesn't come back soon, this team is now 1-5. They're 12th in the East. The Toronto Raptors, you can see at the bottom 1 tonight, so they leapfrogged the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, will that remain the same? No, it definitely won't. But the Bucks now are 14th in the East. They're 5.5 games back. There's lots of time. But they need Chris Middleton back. They need to figure something out. And Gary Trent Jr., I can do a whole video on him. He needs to get going. I don't know what I'm seeing from him. He signed the veterans minimum. He could have got contracts elsewhere. He wanted to win, and he's putting up consistent horrific games. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this. Just a crazy game. I want to get out for you guys as fast as possible. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying the Daily Bucks content. It is going to turn around. We all know that. As Bucks fans, it's going to happen. But let me know down below what your thoughts are. I'll see you guys later.